is ghosting and blocking my friend who uses me as a free babysitter, okay? My friend asked me to help her babysit her son and take him to and from summer school while she is at work tomorrow and the rest of the week. The thing is, my niece gave birth this week via a C-section, and I am staying with her at her house and helping her while she heals because her husband works and can't be there all the time, and she needs a lot of help as she is still healing. And I told my friend this, and then at first she told me that me helping my niece is a good thing, and then in the very next message, she proceeded to guilt me by saying things like God is watching and that he hears and sees everything and that only asked me for a simple favor. She wouldn't accept no for an answer and continued to guilt me and send me more messages trying to get to say yes, and she said things like she is a nice person with a good heart and a good soul and that she only asked for a small favor. After standing my ground for a while, she messaged me saying that God sends her good people and that she asked her neighbor to help her, which she accepted. And then she finished it by saying, her heart is good and clean. Edit 1. I have babysat my friend's son for years free of charge because I knew she had no money and because he wasn't a bother. And another thing is her son is sick, and she refuses to take him to the doctor, claiming they won't do anything after I have told her repeatedly for weeks to take him, and her son's coughing also made one of my children sick as well because no one else in our family is sick except her son. Thankfully, I took my child to the doctor and they gave them medicine, and they are better, but she refuses to do the same for her kid. Sometimes she acts like I can be at her beck and call and babysit for her 24/7, regardless of what's going on in my personnel life or if I'm busy. BTW, she does have other friends or neighbors that live nearby her that can help her. But instead, she calls me all the time because she knows I'm the least likely to say no. This is what happened today. This morning, whilst one of my children who has work in a couple of hours' time was sleeping, her son was knocking on our door and she was on the phone with him, telling him to knock louder, as that's what my child heard her say, when they called me asking if they should open the door, and I told my child not to, and that he can go to the summer school and be there early, as the school is across the street from my house, and that I told her yesterday I wasn't going to be home, but she still sent her son my way. And in the afternoon, she told the summer school teacher to drop her son off at my house without even asking me first if it was okay, and one of my kids who was about to leave for work answered the door thinking it was me or someone else, and then I had to come back home in order to watch her son as he was going to be alone otherwise, and I do not like the idea of her child or any child for that matter being home alone in my house, because if anything happens to them, that's on me since he's in my home. Luckily, my niece's husband was home today, as his day off from work, so he is able to look after her while I waited for the kid's mom to arrive to pick her up. And then when she came to pick him up, she told me that all she wanted was for him to sit in my living room and watch TV whilst he waited for her, and that she didn't ask for too much. Edit. And she also said that the lady she made the deal to take her son to summer school in the morning didn't work out because her son was sleeping. By the time she left for work in the morning and by the time he got ready to leave, he didn't know that she had made a deal with the neighbor, and she said that she forget to tell him about the whole thing, which I think is bullshit, and she just wanted to have an excuse for her son to stay at my house again before and after school. And I think she dropped him off at the bus stop near my house and told him to come and knock on my door before she went to work, then lied and said he came all by himself. Update. I told her that I didn't want her to bring her son over anymore and that I thought was manipulative and fucked up, that she brought her son over despite me telling her I wouldn't be home, and that she endangered her son. Because if my son was not home, then anything could have happened to him, and I told her I hated how she used God in order to guilt me to say yes. And I also told that it is not my fault if she willingly endangers her son, and I will take appropriate action if it comes to it. And I finished it off by telling her that God is watching and hearing her as well. She then replied by telling me that she only has one child and that I have more than one child, and that I'm using that in order to hate her and her son. She then told me that I told her a long time ago that her and her son could come to my house anytime, like I can't have plans or things come up, and that it's my fault that I want to help my family and that I have to be available to her beck and call 24/7 no matter what. And then she told me that I should basically be ashamed to call myself a religious person after threatening her and her son, and that God is watching my heart against her and her son. She then told me she sent my message to her family who live in a different country to, I think, prove how unreasonable I'm being. She then told me the message was me saying bad things about her and her son and trying gossip about them. I have zero problems with her child. I just have a problem with her not respecting a no when I already told her no and trying to gaslight and guilt me into accepting her son, coming to my house when I have plans. That was our last conversation. I have not talked to her since.